Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Maxi here once again, and I am back for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Winnie the Pooh's Rumbly Tumbly Adventure for the Nintendo GameCube/PlayStation 2. So, last time, we've essentially manage able to finish up everything in terms of the forms of Rue's birthday, because all in all, that particular stage, as far as I'm usually quoting for that, is actually ridiculously easy. So because of this though, and also we did somehow manage able to play as Tigger during the forms of one of those segments, so yeah, that's all I can really think about it. So today, speaking of Tigger though, is that we're about to be moving on to the third birthday, and that's what appears to be none other than Tigger himself. So either way though, let's get this thing started. And of course, since about the fact that we're going to be continue exploring for the forms of the 100-acre wood, so as a result about the fact that we might able to actually explore some familiar areas, but others new areas.
So Winnie the Pooh remembered the birthday of his friend, Tigger, and forgot all about his rumbly tumbly.
Hello, Roo. Are you ready for Tigger's birthday?
Oh no, Pooh! 2 of the Tigger costumes blew away, and we need them for Tigger's surprise birthday picture.
No, dear. It seems to me that we shall need all the costumes to take the picture.
Hey, maybe my mama saw where the costumes blew to. I think she's over by Piglet's house.
So since we're going to be getting things started with the forms of Tigger's birthday, this means that we can't play as him, so it makes a little bit more sense kind of thinking about it, especially concerning about for the fact that we might able to actually come across into, presumably speaking, the last playable character, at least specifically during the forms of the scrapbook adventures, as far as I'm concerned. So, but even then though, of course, they're about the fact that our honey parts counters restarts back to 0, so this means about the fact that we still need able to collect them for trying to able to actually access to certain spots, and maybe presumably we will try our luck if we able to actually decide able to find some music notes around here, but of course about the fact that it might be self-explanatory if you pay attention to the forms of certain glowing parts, specifically honey parts for yellow, glowing parts, and of course blue for the sake of the forms of the music notes. So either way, let's go ahead and go into here. So just to ensure about the fact that we can able to start solving some more puzzles and eventually start to able to do some more exploration and maybe talk to what forms of some characters here and there, specifically, or I don't know, with Piglet, or Kanga, or potentially speaking with Rabbit, if we might as well come across into one. But of course, we still need able to try to avoid those heffalumps, of course. So, anyway though, so a few things I want to explain for this point today, and that's what appears to be about the fact that today's date, of course, there is the 28th of December today, in some cases in 2023 today. I believe, relatively speaking though, is that we've only just got about, presumably speaking, 4 more days to go until we move on to 2024. And I'm still pretty excited about the forms of how 2024 actually decides to able to get its offer. Although, relatively speaking, though, I think I should probably save that particular topic until for later. Specifically, during the forms of that particular point for its finale portion of Winnie the Pooh's Rumbly Tumbly Adventure, as far as I'm concerned. But even then, no, despite the fact that it's been about a couple of hours since I actually have last played this. So, and of course, I did somehow manage to able to fix that stupid lag problem again. So, at the very least, it's now going to be super smooth when it comes to able to try to link up the forms of the commentary, all things considered. But even then, no, that might be saying something. So, speaking of which though, is about the fact that I should probably talk about the forms of the actual random topic at this point today. Nothing to do with the forms of the actual like new games coming out for it just yet, because obviously about the fact that we've almost approaching on to, you know, 2024, so relatively speaking, though, we should probably able to discuss upon the entire retrospective of certain Christmas presents that I've got, or generally speaking, I've somehow got in the past. Like Leo Stowe, for 15 years ago, since in 2008, and 10 years ago, since in 2013, and finally 5 years ago, since 2018. Although, I'll probably be able to actually mention about this later, so but even then, no, we can now able to actually go into the alternative route right here, which pretty much leads us to, of course, Tigger's house, and exponentially we can able to actually just define some more honey pots during that specific spot. And oh look, we have Eeyore right here, so either way.
Hello, Eeyore. How are you today?
No better, no worse. Trying to catch these butterflies. Kinda hard to catch 'em without a net, though.
So yeah, something tells me we'll play as Eeyore until for later, so for now, let's discuss upon the forms of my nostalgia factor when it comes to the forms of Christmas presents that I somehow received back in during the forms of it not only 15 years ago, but you already know about the fact that during the course of our Christmas unboxing videos since in 2013 and 2018 respectively, that you probably already know about the fact that we've already just managed able to still got some items, while others not so much, mainly because about the fact that it's now been replaced by the forms of whatever version we've got. So, for instance, about the fact that I remember back in the day in 2008, during the forms of in Christmas time, not only because of how the fact that with Wallace and Gromit, A Matter of Love and Death, did somehow manage able to get premiered during the forms of the BBC One channel, as far as I'm concerned. And in addition to that, is about the fact that I remember that I somehow managed able to got myself the Wii version of Sonic Unleashed, despite the fact that it's like an SD version of Sonic Unleashed, likely standard definition or something like that. So as a result, I remember I got pretty much hyped about the forms of playing Sonic Unleashed on the Nintendo Wii version, just because it does have a GameCube controller support, and on top of all that stuff though, I'm very curious about the fact that while looking back on it though, that I still found this to be a pretty good version in my opinion, despite a lot of people seem to get a lot of negativity about, you know what I mean, with the forms of the Wii Remote motion controls that is involved, especially concerning with all that particular Werehog stuff. So believe in that though. And also I remember back in the day as well, and also in 2008, that I finally managed able to get myself my physical copy of Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga for the Game Boy Advance, completely inboxed, and on top of that, complete with manual, which unfortunately I don't have anymore, especially concerning about the fact that back in the day, that our room is actually a completely messy state. But usually, relatively speaking though, that luckily my cartridge of Mario Luigi Superstar Saga still works, even to this day. Now, I found this very bizarre while looking back in 2008, whenever I managed able to find out something, and that's what appears to be about the fact that as soon as I'm able to actually access to playing, you know, Mario Luigi Superstar Saga on the Game Boy Advance version, that I somehow managed able to come across into a used save file, which pretty much leads me towards the end game, and on top of all that stuff though, incredibly powerful status when it comes to not only for its attacks, defense, and all that stuff, and I'm pretty sure about for the fact that, well, we pretty much reach into the forms of level 41, not only for the likes of for Mario, but also for Luigi as well, just to take care of the forms of the final boss as quickly as possible. So believe it or not, I found this very, very shocking. So either way, oh, speaking of such, not only do we bump into Kanga, but also Piglet as well. So either way, before we do that, we need to go ahead and grab some more honey pots, so just in case we can able to just, you know, able to actually access to other items, and etc, etc. So yeah, this area is pretty much done for the most part, apart from the fact that I need to able to keep looking for certain items throughout. So in some cases though, that's as far as I can usually say about this, I guess. So, and also I do remember back in the day that I was expecting to able to actually just try to go after tons of stuff here and there, which I suppose I should probably explain a bit more about it until for later, but for now, let's talk to them two.
Pooh, you've come at just the right time. The costume is on the other side of this ravine.
I'm afraid it's impossible to reach.
Now, I'm sure Owl could help. Oh, but it seems the path to his house is blocked by thorns. Here, Pooh, take the key to my shed. There are tools in there that could help you.
So of course, now we've got ourselves our usual key, so that'll be the most common item throughout the majority of the entire game. So believe in that now. Anyway, I remember back in the day that I usually got myself Sonic Advance 3 for the Game Boy Advance as well, but I remember the actual bad memories about it. Like, usually relatively speaking, I was very excited back in the day that I finally managed to get myself my very own copy of Sonic Advance 3, but then I found out about the fact that I remember in 2008, we've come across into a very, very, very bad present at the end of the day because of the forms of this one thing. That is, of course, the most common thing nowadays is, of course, fake cartridges. So as a result, I felt it was a little bit more, I don't know, very baffling about it. Especially concerning about for the fact that it doesn't allow me to save the game. And on top of all that stuff, though, just a lot of stuff feels a bit, you know, very, very disorganized. So, but even then, no. And I just realized about the fact that I have the option to save my game, apparently. So, I have no idea why I just did that. Although, kind of thinking about it though, that happened at the same time whenever I managed able to play Super Smash Bros. Melee on my own time. It seems though about the fact that my memory card still works just fine, but it's just that I just have no idea why the menu just somehow popped up. So, either way though. And also I remember about back in the day as well that we've somehow managed to get ourselves the Wally DVD, which as it turns out about the fact that back in the day we have to deal with the forms of the worst packaging design, which as a result it's cardboard sleeves and all that stuff, which suffice to say is about the fact that I still managed to enjoy the film back in the day. In fact, I still do, but it's just about the fact that we've come across into this common problem about with the cardboard sleeves and stuff like that. That basically though, that the more you're able to actually play around with it though, it will get damaged at some form or another. So yeah, it's a bit annoying though, but luckily we're now going back onto DVD standard cases to make things a little bit more easy to come across into, especially because concerning about the fact you don't need to worry about scratched up discs or anything else like that, and presumably speaking, that when it comes to contents, well, obviously you don't have to necessarily worry about, you know, creased cardboard damages and all that stuff. So, but either way though, that might be just besides the point. So, anyway though, so now we've actually cut the thorn, and that pretty much leads us to the next area we haven't exactly explored yet. So, I believe that potentially leads us to, I don't know, Owl maybe? But either way though, seems to be more specifically we still need to able to try to take care of, you know, the heffalumps or Wurzels or something like that. Mind you, about the fact that the actual lighting in this particular segment just feels a bit kind of dark around here. So, yep, it seems that we're about to take on those Wurzels right here. So, even then though, yeah, let's just go ahead and pop the balloon. And sure enough, we can now able to actually go ahead and try to go in and explore this particular portion of this particular area. So, and of course, that particular path right there might be a bit too thin to able to go across, which something tells me about the fact that thanks to the forms of those invisible walls, that those honey pots does not drop down from the cliff below. So, but again, it's without a doubt is one of the easiest games in terms of the forms of the Winnie the Pooh game series as far as I'm concerned. But either way though, I think I've already on about that throughout the majority of the game so far. So, anyway though, so, and also I do remember back in the day about this as well, that I do remember that I managed able to get myself my very first DVD or DVD portable player that I somehow managed to got, but unfortunately though I no longer have that back in during the forms of well, I think relatively speaking though is that what happens is that I think the actual scratched up discs managed to able to actually make me stop watching certain things anymore. So, but at least I got the new replacement one though, so that's something, alright. But either way, now we've actually got the bell, so I think this will do the trick to able to call out for Owl.
Hello, Pooh. Oh, I'm very glad I found you, Owl. You see, I was wondering if you could help us cross the ravine near Piglet's house.
Oh, dear boy, I would love to, but I don't have the time just now. I'm certain I can think of something, though. Why don't you catch a few butterflies with this net? Then they could pick up Piglet and take him over the ravine. Oh, genius idea, if I do say so myself.
And now we've got the net, so you know what that means? It's time to able to catch some more butterflies, with Eeyore, of course. But even then though, yeah, that's what I can really say about that. So, and also I do remember back in the day as well, during the Forms Within Christmas 2008, that I've realized about the fact that I did manage to ask for one last thing, and that's what appears to be Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Were-Rabbit 2-disc special edition, but then I found out about the fact that I had to wait for about an extra day or so, especially concerning about for the fact that I actually had a lot of fun playing around with the forms of not only Sonic Unleashed for the Wii version, but also with Mario Luigi Superstar Saga, and unfortunately I didn't play that much of Sonic Advance 3, fake cartridge version, just because of the actual save data has been, you know, corrupted, and on top of that, it won't allow me to save. And on top of all that stuff though, when I was in the middle of something, during the forms of the chow hunting back in the day, that, my god, I somehow got raged over by the forms of my lost progression. And on top of all that stuff though, it's just about the fact that no wonder why I can't be bothered able to grab the fake cartridge anymore, so...
Thanks for bringing me the butterfly net, Pooh.
Why, certainly, Eeyore. In fact, I think I need to catch some butterflies, too. So I thought perhaps we could catch them together.
Sounds fine to me. Gotta be quick, though. The butterflies are flying extra fast today.
Anyway though, and then later on, during the Forms Within 2009, not only did I've managed able to get myself quite a few Game Boy Advance games back in the day, during the Forms Within 2009, which there are Super Mario Advance, Super Mario Advance 2, Super Mario World, and not only that, a proper real cartridge version of Sonic Advance 3, and finally Super Mario Advance 4, Super Mario Bros. 3, because back in during the Forms Within 2009, that I've pretty much enjoyed a heck of a lot more time during the forms of my Game Boy Advance SP, so I can able to play those amazing games on the go.
Thank you for your help, Eeyore.
You're welcome, Pooh. Glad to do it.
Now I shall take these butterflies to Piglet.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
And, yeah, that's what I can really say about that, I guess. So, and I remember back in the day, also during the Forms Within, let's just say in 2013, that you probably already know about the fact that we obviously do have not only Super Mario 3D World on the Wii U, which, yeah, relatively speaking though, I remember so much of playing Super Mario 3D World on the Wii U version, so even then though. And also, we remember about the fact that we've actually got ourselves not only Mario and Sonic at the Sochi 2014 Olympic Winter Games, which is an okay game back then, despite the fact that there's a lot of, like, lack of originality when it comes to the forms of likely also for its winter events or anything else like that, which, gee, it's no surprise about the fact that we still haven't got ourselves our new installment of the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games since 2014, which, as a result, maybe because the pool sales might have something to do with that, or generally speaking though because of how the fact that most people prefer the summer games a bit more. Although, relatively speaking though, it might be hard to say. So, but either way though, and also as you can see, we actually able to realize about the fact that we've pretty much almost at the halfway point in terms of the forms of Tigger's birthday. And also, for those of you probably wondering, that we somehow got butterflies as our inventory items. That could be something related to the forms of maybe presumably we may as well able to meet up with not only Tigger again, but also with Piglet as well again. So just to ensure about for the fact that we might as well able to actually find the Tigger costume, which as a result, that is a reference to something related to the Tigger movie. So yeah, that probably explains it how. So, but either way though, it seems that we've still missing one music note left, but hopefully we'll try to find that as long as we're able to actually keep on exploring. And on top of all that stuff though, just pay attention to the forms of those glowing parts, so...
Oh, the butterflies are lifting me up.
Yeah, the butterflies did somehow carry Piglet, and speaking of Piglet, something tells me we're about to be playing as him, so I guess this might actually be Piglet's Big Game 2, or specifically Piglet's Big Game sequel something.
Oh, dear, a lump. Perhaps if I use one of my very scary faces, I might be able to chase it away.
Especially because the screen transition, it looks very similar to Piglet's big game. So, yeah, it's now able to play as Piglet once again, except the noticeable difference is this time is that he does have lesser amount of scary faces ever since in Piglet's big game. So I think something tells me about the fact that we might able to actually come across into one right now, which, as a result, similar to the forms of how it does it on Piglet's big game, you have to press the X button in order to able to enter the battle encounter, and on top of all that stuff, that was about the fact that you have to press the X button on the PlayStation 2 version, or the A button on the GameCube version. So, yeah, you still need to able to follow the forms of the button prompts, and then if you manage to press the correct buttons, you will perform a brave face. So in some cases though, for some reason we actually ended up with 3 buttons this time around instead of 2, so I have no idea why they're going for this change, but anyway. I can tell that Piglet's got a lot of strength after the events of Piglet's big game, that he did somehow manage to able to shove over some heavy stuff and create it as a bridge. So, yeah, still very impressive for him.
Oh, this is perfect.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Piglet.
Oh, you're welcome, Pooh.
Now, Pooh dear, you get the costume, and I'll wait for you in front of my house.
So of course, we can now switch back to Winnie the Pooh right here to do some more stuff, especially concerning about for the fact that we can now able to actually access to yet another area we haven't explored yet. So yeah, you probably get the idea about that. So anyway, and also I do remember back in the day in 2013 when it comes to Christmas, as you probably already know, that we've pretty much got ourselves the forms of Rayman Legends on the Wii U, despite the fact that we no longer have the Wii U version of the game, not just because of the forms of how the fact that we rarely played the Wii U version of Rayman Legends, because obviously we played Super Mario 3D World a lot more, and in addition to that, certain Wi-Fi stuff is now being taken down, for its service anyway, for Rayman Legends for the Wii U version, and in addition to that though, is about the fact that we've now been able to actually got the Switch version, so we can able to play this amazing platformer on the go, on the Nintendo Switch. Same applies with the forms of the PlayStation Vita version as well, if you do want to count that. So, either way, there goes our music notes, and also we can able to actually deliver some more honey pots for the sake of the forms of those bunch of bees, and sure enough, we finally found ourselves a Tigger costume. But yeah, totally a reference to the forms of the Tigger movie, of course. So, but either way though, so I think we're not exactly done with this area just yet though, aside from the fact that we still need able to find some more honey pots, of course, just in case for later sections to come. So, but either way though, it seems I'm off by 1. So, but either way, I'm pretty sure this is the last one. Oh wait, there's actually more. Okay. Better have to keep searching for that, I guess. So, either way, yeah, and also, I think I almost remembered of able to actually got myself the forms of Wii Party U, despite the fact that we barely played that game either. But that's just because we're pretty excited for Super Mario 3D World on the Wii U version, most likely, and despite the fact that we also no longer have Wii Party U for multiple reasons. First of all, we barely touched the game, and on top of that, certain modes are locked out behind multiplayer stuff. Like, for instance, we've never able to actually experience Gamepad Island, because obviously multiplayer is required. And yeah, that's as far as I can usually think about that, so that's the reason why we no longer have Wii Party U anymore, just because that game heavily utilizes multiplayer stuff. So, understandably so, for fun and entertainment, but for single player experience, it might be felt a bit lagging. So, anyway, and I remember back in the day as well about the fact that I got hyped about the forms of not only we can able to rewatch Monsters University, but also with Skyfall, thanks to the forms of those DVD physical copies that we still got, even to this day, and no scratches at all.
That's wonderful, dear. Now we're only missing one costume, and I think that I just saw it flying towards the mountain behind Owl's house.
But I digress. So, and also we remember back in the day as well that we somehow got ourselves the special Luigi-themed Wii Remote Plus to able to actually celebrate the actual year of Luigi, of course. And despite the fact that we rarely use that particular controller, although the only time I somewhat use that particular Wii Remote, and that's what appears to be about the fact that with specific games utilizes the Wii Motion Plus peripheral, or specifically the actual Wii Motion Plus built-in kind of thing on specific games, like The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, Mario and Sonic at the Sochi 2014 Olympic Winter Games, and etc, etc. But everything else though, that's a really good lineup for 2013 Christmas presents while looking back. So, but either way, that's pretty much as far as I can say about this for the most part, aside from the fact that, well, we can able to actually go through here, and, well, we meet up with this particular point.
Oh, bother. I shall never be able to get through. I wonder if Piglet could, seeing as he is a rather small animal.
So you know what that means? It's time for some more backtracking. So because of this though, yeah, it makes a little bit more sense that Piglet can be the only one to able to actually go for this particular narrow path to able to actually go across. So, but either way though, I think something tells me we're also able to play as him again. So, yeah, that's a cool thing, especially because you know how the fact that Piglet is all in all a pretty cool character for the sake of the forms of the Winnie the Pooh continuity, and on top of all that stuff though, despite he was actually very frightened and all that stuff, but I'm not gonna lie though, he's pretty adorable looking. So, well, I wouldn't say for the forms of the Book of Pooh counterparts, because my god, that the designs on specific characters in that particular series just looks a bit kind of all over the place, at least for specific impressions.
Piglet, I think I need your help.
Of course, Pooh. I'd be happy to help you.
You see, I need to go up the mountain, but the path is far too narrow for a bear of my stoutness.
Oh, I'll help you clear the path.
And I suppose we can probably discuss upon the last thing in terms of the forms of today's discussion. That's what appears to be about the fact that while looking back in during the forms of about 5 years ago, that you probably already know we've already done our Christmas 2018 unboxing video special back in 5 years ago. That it seems to be more specifically though is about the fact that we've only just somehow realized that we've only got a small amount of items while looking back on it though. Like for instance, we actually got ourselves our next pair of Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons, mainly during the forms of Neon Yellow, which again, much like the forms of how it does it on the Luigi themed Wii Remote, we rarely used it sometimes, apart from the fact that we have to able to keep it boxed from now on, mainly because we really don't want to able to come across into a Joy-Con drifting issue for, you know what I'm saying, with the actual left analog stick or anything else like that. So, and also I remember about the fact that we've got pretty much hyped about the forms of able to finally get a chance to experience not only Mega Man Powered Up for the PSP, but also with the forms of Mega Man Maverick Hunter X also for the PSP as well, so we can able to actually experience those amazing remake for the sake of the forms of based off from not only Mega Man 1, but also with Mega Man X as well. So, but even then though, that was the really good gifts as far as while looking back in Journey forms of in 2018 as far as this is concerned. And also about the fact that we got ourselves Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy for the Switch, to able to experience the good old classic Crash Bandicoot games on the go, on the Nintendo Switch version anyway. So at the very least though, it's about the fact that we still managed to get ourselves the Switch version of Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. So as a result, that would be that's another good gift of mine. So, but either way though, oh, hello there, Trumper Lump right there. It's been a very long while, hasn't it? So something tells me about the fact that we need to take him down as quickly as possible, because again, if you left on for a few seconds notice, then obviously your button props will reset. So, but even then though, yeah, it seems kind of weird able to actually stumble across into him during the forms of in the earliest point for the sake of the forms of this game so far. or something tells me about for the fact that, well, eventually at some form or another, for certain heffalumps or woozles or anything else like that, that it might actually get a little bit more aggressive at one point. So, either way though, let's go ahead and walk across through here, and sure enough, he'll get enough strength to able to shove this rug. So now we can able to actually go across into a yet another section we haven't exactly explored yet. So even then we can able to actually explore the snowy part of the 100-acre wood. So
There you are, Pooh. Now you can go up the mountain.
Oh, thank you, Piglet.
Certainly, Pooh. Goodness, I'm rather tired now. Maybe I'll take a little nap before Tigger's party.
indeed, Piglet, you can indeed have some bit of rest, especially after dealing with a lot of walking you're dealing with, and on top of that, a lot of like battle encounters you've already stumbled across into, not only for the sake of the forms of the usual heffalumps and woozles like the basic ones, but also heffalump B or something like that, and in addition to that, Trumper heffalump. So I'm not exactly sure we might able to come across into the forms of some of these other familiar enemy types for the sake of the forms of this game compared to the forms of how it does it on Piglet's big game, but I'm sure we're able to actually find out more details about that if we continue proceedings for the sake of the forms of the continuation portions of, well, you know what I'm saying. So, and also, we remember back then, during the forms of about 5 years ago, that we've somehow managed to able to get ourselves the forms of the Simpsons movie or the Simpsons game, rather, for the Nintendo Wii version, despite the fact that we no longer have the Wii version anymore, just because, at the end of the day, it feels like the controls on the Wii version feels a bit too cumbersome to pull off. So, but even then though, and in addition to that though, is about the fact that we now able to actually got the Xbox 360 version instead, for the sake of the forms of the better controls, and on top of that, much more better visuals, and not only that, about for the fact that it does contain achievements on the Xbox 360 version, for what I found out. So, and finally, most notably, is that with Oh Kami Den, that we remember that we've got pretty much hyped that we finally managed to got the game at long last. So it's like 7 years, better late than never thing, I suppose. Because we were originally trying to able to get ourselves Oh Kami Den during the forms of in 2011. But of course, we need able to save up some cash for, you know, just try to save up for the 3DS game or something like that. So either way, we shoved this little ice cube to able to actually now able to allow us to able to actually access to some more continuation parts during the forms of the actual snowy mountain site. So, but even then no, because I believe something tells me we still need able to actually grind as many of those honey pots as much as we can. So just in case we can able to actually access to the next costume part. So, but either way though, oh, that was it? Huh. Doesn't take that long, doesn't it? So, either way, let's just go ahead and run up to this particular point right here. And, relatively speaking though, we can able to actually deliver the, you know, some more honey for the sake of those bees. And sure enough, we're basically done for the most part. Apart from one last thing we need to do, that is, of course, not only pick up this particular, the next costume part, or generally speaking, yet another costume outfit. So as a result, we can now able to actually head back to see Kenga, and once we're done with that, I believe Tigger's birthday is going to be completed by then. So it seems kind of weird about the fact that we've never actually bumped into Tigger once in this particular stage, but relatively speaking though, hopefully we'll try to play as him again during at some point once we get into the later birthdays to come. So, but before we're able to meet up with Kanga though, we need to deal with the forms of some more heffalumps and woozles again by just trying to able to make our way to the balloon and all that stuff. Even though what I thought was a little bit interesting is that the Okami Den, as I mentioned earlier, that we somehow come across into an American copy of the game, which luckily it did somehow work on our DSi XL, luckily, because obviously DS games are region free, with a couple of exceptions, which is of course the bootleg ones, which I know for a fact I have a lot of horror stories with those bootleg copies of certain DS games, like for instance with Sega Superstars Tennis, that I remember whenever I first got the DS version of the game, I was pretty hyped about it, but then I found out about the fact that the actual game cannot be played on the DSi whatsoever, because obviously about the fact that that was potentially a bootleg. So yeah, because as a result, yeah, I just have no words to think about it. So either way, let's go ahead and burst yet another balloon so that we can able to continue our progression. Or, to be more specifically, we can able to end things off everything for Tigger's birthday by delivering the last costume for Kenga, and that'll be about it, basically. So, and, yeah, we're now on to the halfway point of the game, folks, so we're nearly almost done.
How wonderful, dear. You've gathered all the costumes. Now we can take the surprise picture for Tigger's birthday.
Oh, I hope he likes it.
Look at all my Tiggerific friends. Why, this is the bestest birthday present I ever got.
And indeed, Pooh remembered that Tigger's birthday party was one of the most enjoyable ever.
And yeah, for that particular picture right there was actually a reference to something related to the Tigger movie as well. So, yeah, I guess that makes it totally obvious where that particular familiar photo was actually taken from. So, with that being said though, I think we should probably end things off at this point right here. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of Winnie the Pooh's Rumbly Tumbly Adventure for the Nintendo GameCube or the PlayStation 2 version. That's what appears to be about the fact that we're going to be moving on to the next birthday stage. And this time we're going over to Eeyore's birthday. So yeah, that'll be interesting. So I'll see you guys until tomorrow. Later, fellas.